Look where the energy in the Democratic Party is. It's around retrieving illegal aliens from El Salvador. It's around fighting for these college campuses that have been rife with anti-Semitism. It's around biological males who want to play in girls' sports. This is why they are losing to Donald Trump every day. Because
important. We want to maintain that. But I think there's absolutely enough here to send this guy somewhere else. One, he's already broken the law. We've already established that. Now you do have evidence suggesting that he was a member or is a member of MS-13. He's also a serial abuser. This is not the type of individual I don't think any one of us would want in our country. He should be deported.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. A couple of clips to share with you guys today. One of Scott Jennings. He was on the Arena Cassie Hunt show on CNN, absolutely cooking. And the next clip will be Shermichael Stevenson doing the same thing on the Abby Phillips show, proving exactly why these Democrats are on the wrong side of all of these issues. And hopefully it stays that way because they're not going to get reelected anytime soon. Let's get to the first clip of Scott Jennings.
Scott, the Wall Street Journal editorial page puts it this way. They say Mr. Trump would be wise to settle all of this by quietly asking Mr. Bukele to return Mr. Abrego Garcia, who has family in the U.S., but the president may be bloody-minded enough that he wants to show the judiciary who's boss. If this case does become a judicial showdown, Mr. Trump may assert his Article 2 powers not to return Mr. Abrego Garcia, and the Supreme Court will be reluctant to disagree. But they say Mr. Trump would be smarter to play the long game. He has many, much bigger issues than the fate of one man that will come before the Supreme Court. By taunting the judiciary in this manner, he's inviting a rebuke on cases that carry far greater stakes.
Interesting point. I don't know what they're going to do. They do have an out here, as David just said, which is ultimately that they could bring him back and then rearrest him and deport him somewhere else. And so for however long this plays out, they always are going to have that out, which is before it gets to the point of crisis or whatever you want to call it, they can bring him back and send him somewhere, maybe somewhere much worse. First of all, I'm more than happy to hear the congressman say they're all going to El Salvador. I think for Republicans, this just confirms what we have believed about the Democratic Party and why it currently has a 21% approval rating in Congress. Look where the energy in the Democratic Party is. It's around retrieving illegal aliens from El Salvador. It's around fighting for these college campuses that have been rife with anti-Semitism. It's around biological males who want to play in girls' sports. This is why they are losing to Donald Trump every day, because the energy that Democrats feel comes on all these issues that are fundamentally not where the American people are.
Congressman, one second. Congressman, can I give you the chance to respond to that?
Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, it's Donald Trump that's actually losing the support of the American people. Donald Trump's not focused on lowering the costs of housing, not focused on lowering the price of goods. He's out there deporting people that have legal status to be here, revoking student visas from students that are contributing to this country.
He doesn't have legal status to be here, Congressman. He has a deportation order. You're going to go to El Salvador. You're going to go to maybe go to the grocery store. Like there's an issue here where you could possibly win on, but you're going to El Salvador instead.
It's okay that someone walking into getting their citizenship, walking into their citizenship test, their citizenship meeting, is being apprehended on the way into their next process, which just happened to somebody in Vermont, and it's happening now across the country. Students are being deported and revoked of their student visas. Yes. Many are not being told why that's the case. That should not be happening in the United States. And certainly someone shouldn't be deported and being left in a prison in a foreign country when the Supreme Court says they should be returned back. And so those are the questions. And by the way, as Democrats and as a Congress and a government, we should be able to do multiple things at the same time. We should be able to take on billionaires who are raiding the government. We should be able to take on Elon Musk, who has no business being in charge of Doge. And yes, protecting the civil rights and human rights of people that are in this country and entrusted to us. And so, yes, Scott, we can do all of those things. And it's Donald Trump who actually defined the Supreme Court and whose numbers are going down.
Kate Bedingfield.
I would also just say to your the energy from Democrats on these issues, let's also look at the elections that have taken place since. It's going to resonate with people that doesn't feel like they're arguing to bring somebody back from El Salvador who they've now kind of held up as the poster child for our immigration policy. And I don't think that's where Democrats want to be.
They believe, the White House believes, just that they are following the Supreme Court's order here. They think everybody else has got this wrong and that they've got it right on the word facilitate, and the courts cannot compel them on foreign affairs matters. So they actually think they're in the right, and they're willing to fight that out, I guess, as it goes back through the court system. And as long as they are fighting it out, we're going to have days and days of Democrats, I guess, going to El Salvador to try to retrieve this guy, which plays right into their hands, I think.
Yeah, just like Scott said, This is how not to get reelected 101. They're on the wrong side of all the issues that most Americans are pro. No men and women's sports, keeping the country safe from violent illegals. Like this guy that they're talking about that was sent to El Salvador, who is from there, who was part of the MS-13 guy. It turns out he's a wife beater, he's an abuser, and yet they want to take this guy back into the country for quote-unquote due process just so he could be sent out of the country again, because listen, there's no way that this guy would ever be allowed in. He would just be sent somewhere else or put in jail, as he should be. And yet no mention on the left of the victims of these people. They don't care. This is the woke mind virus that Elon Musk talks about. Now let's get to Shermichael Singleton spitting some facts on the Abby Phillips Show.
I think it is a political issue. I also think it's a national security issue. Prince George's County in 2019, their gang unit determined that Garcia was an MS-13 gang member. His wife in 2021, the wife that's now giving lengthy testimonies about how great he is, said that he's a serial abuser, and she has a ton of photos to showcase said abuse. I agree, due process is absolutely important. We want to maintain that, but I think there's absolutely enough here to send this guy somewhere else. One, he's already broken the law. We've already established that. Now you do have evidence suggesting that he was a member or is a member of MS-13. He's also a serial abuser. This is not the type of individual I don't think any one of us would want in our country. He should be deported.
But respectfully, sir, Michael, we can't make it about Kilmar. Like, that's just one person.
But that's the case we're talking about.
That is, but I guess if we look at the macro and not the micro and just look at the process of this, because he's not the only person there. There were they indiscriminately rounded up people and deported them. We also saw in the news this week, maybe it was last week, it's been a long year this week, but the Massachusetts attorney who got the letter saying that you have 7 days to leave the country. This administration has already proven that there are flaws in the system, and they are randomly deporting people without due process. That's not specific to him. That should be specific to all of us.
Support, and I just want to make one note about the gang affiliation. Obviously, this is a police report. We know the police reports are one part of the story. He has in court disputed that because the basis is the clothing he was wearing and information from a confidential informant, not actually direct information.
But it is a relevant piece of evidence that we should cite for the viewers.
Just more context on what you were saying there, Mandela.
As relevant as the fact that our president was found guilty of sexual assault. As relevant as the fact that Pete Hegseth, his own mother, called into question his integrity, his ability to serve in the position that he's serving in.
What does that have to do with immigration?
Well, what I'm saying is these are the people who are leading the country, not just people who are living in the country.
We had an election,
That's a huge difference.
Mandela.
So it's okay. So it's fine that our nation is led by a sexual assaulter, by a man found guilty of sexual assault. Are you okay with that? You're fine with a person who's found guilty of sexual assault leading this country? I am certainly not. I fought against that with every fiber of my being. Now, if he got elected, we came up short. But are you comfortable voting for that? Are you comfortable with having that lead this country? But are you comfortable with that leading this country? That is the question.
Let me understand what you're saying here. Are you saying that the idea, as Shermichael was bringing up, that immigrants, this guy, he's being accused of something. By the way, he's never been convicted of any of those things, right? Of course. He's being accused of that. That's enough for you to say, get him out, throw him into a prison in El Salvador. Mandela, what's your point about Trump?
My point is we're talking about due process, and we've gone through due process with Donald Trump, and he was found guilty. And if we can sit and let this man who has all sorts of issues dictate who gets to stay in this country, it already was reported today that they will come after people who are homegrowns, people who were born here, people who have citizenship. They've already floated the idea of revoking people's citizenship. So for the people you talk to that you mentioned that, this may not apply to me, I guarantee you there will be something that applies to you. And if people are being sent to El Salvador, to these prisons, as it was talked about in World War II, without due process, what is that? That is essentially sending people to internment camps. And again, what we did in World War II with the Japanese.
I got to let him in.
Abby, there's no secret that the immigration system in America is broken. Yes. No secret. Both political parties have done nothing about it over the years. But this man here, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he came here, he filed for political asylum. They didn't give it to him. There was an order for deportation. There was a stay. At the end of the day, the administration made a mistake. They said, we made a mistake, we deported him. Now he has an El Salvador problem. He doesn't have a Trump USA problem. So if this administration wants to do something to facilitate, I think they might give us.
The courts kind of disagree with that because honestly, they could just, as many people, but as many people have suggested, they could just follow the court order have him come back, and as they said, just
not coming back because
just go through the court proceedings and deport him where they can deport him.
By the way, just on a practical level, Abby, these deportation proceedings are abbreviated. We're not talking about we have to get a jury and panel, then we have to go through motions and discovery and all. We're talking about a very abbreviated administrative proceeding. So if you adhere to the immigration laws, you give an ALJ at the immigration board to give that type of process, you're done. It's exactly what you said. We're talking about an abbreviated proceeding. It is
and they
not
could have done that from the beginning.
It's so problematic.
But it made me wonder, I mean, truly, from a political perspective, Tiffany, it makes me wonder, because when you look at what the White House did today, they were like, oh, here are the documents that, you know, everyone's been saying, well, what's the proof? Just give us the evidence and let's debate it. They put this out. They brought the mother of someone who was tragically killed by an undocumented immigrant to the White House.
Part of Salvador.
Yeah, this is part of a political strategy.
He wasn't the person.
But the point is that Van Hollen won't talk to the woman here who lost her daughter in Maryland, but he will go down to El Salvador to try to bring an amnesty gangbangers back to America?
Really? It is disturbing that you are
I think the Democrat Party's completely lost.
It is disturbing
Completely
that you are
lost and losing it.
defending the lack of due process to have the government disappear people and take them to El Salvador.
How do you think?
That's my point.
They
admitted it was a mistake.
This is an MS-13 gangbanger in El Salvador.
The Supreme Court has ordered this administration to bring him back. How do you think history? They have said
the facilitation of his
return. Precisely. But my point is, for you and you who are defending this, how do you think history will remember you when we look back at this time?
I did say that.
But you're okay with him going away. How do you think when we look back at this time, when the government was, but there wasn't a legal process, is my point. And how do you think when we look back at this time, when the government is disappearing people, and you two sat on this stage and said, oh, well, that's okay. They are
very last word, and then we have to go.
Shipping them to another
Tiffany and Shermichael, hang on a second. Let me let Abel get a word in, and then we got to go.
Just briefly, this is no choir boy, okay? This is a gentleman who obviously has had issues. We're finding out more and more and more. And the Democrat Party and Van Hollen, I think they're on the wrong side of this. There was a mistake made. He's in El Salvador. He should get a lawyer in El Salvador to get out of the prison, but he's not coming to the USA.
In El Salvador, because
he's not coming to the USA.
In El Salvador, they have suspended the Constitution. Bukele has, along with the help of lawmakers, suspended the Constitution there to deprive people in El Salvador of due process as well. This is right out of the dictator's playbook that Trump is
particular guy, politically, this is not the guy to hang his head.
Mercedes Colwin, we got to leave it there for that.
Again, they want this guy back into the country. Why? There is no way that this guy would be allowed to stay. Look, maybe it would be different if they sent a criminal to the wrong country. Sure, pick him up and send him back to his own country. Whatever. But he is from El Salvador. He is a citizen of El Salvador, and he was told that he couldn't stay here. He went through a process, and now he's back home in the country where he was born in. You don't get to come back. Western countries are the only countries in the world that go through this nonsense. They don't go through this long due process, and no country in the world does this except for Western countries, Judeo-Christian countries, the countries that people want to come to because they are the richest, best, most just countries in the world where you can make the most money because they're also the richest countries in the world. These people come in illegally. Most of them undermine everything that we stand for. They don't even like our values. Let's get these people out of here and keep America safe. People voted for this. They voted for Trump on keeping the border shut down, on deporting all these people that are committing crimes and making the economy better. Let's get rid of these violent criminals, then let's start mass deporting the people that are just here illegally. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up button for your boy. Consider subscribing to the channel. Help it grow. Catch you in the next video. Peace out, everybody.